Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today. My name is Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan. We are coming to you live from Moakley Park in South Boston, Massachusetts. Here to bring you live coverage of today's high school varsity girls rugby contest in a battle of warriors between the Lincoln-Sudbury Regional High School Warriors and the Brookline High School Warriors. We had a slight last-minute venue change here. Originally, this was going to be played in Sudbury at Lincoln-Sudbury High School, but got changed a day or two ago to here at Moakley Park. So we're here right by the river, enjoying the coastal breeze. And I say we because I'm not alone here today, folks. I got a color commentator joining me here today, so please give a warm welcome to Brookline High School freshman Sam Lowenstein. Sam, thank you for joining me today.
Jesse, thanks for having me on today. Brookline had a 2-1 record, a blowout win in their last one, 52-0 against Algonquin, and then defeating Cambridge after that, 31-10, and that win. More of a competitive matchup, but still the Warriors able to show off. They lost their first game to Weymouth 24-20, but in a close matchup. So seems like the Warriors have shored up their play a bit, and I think they're going to be able to beat the Lincoln-Sudbury Warriors, who are 2-1. Also, they beat, actually, looking now at Lincoln-Sudbury, their margins of victory, they are extremely high, 77-17. 50-0. I think this is going to be a tight matchup, actually. Could go either way between the two sides.
Yes, it looks very close on paper between these two teams, and that's a nice rare treat because, as you mentioned, Sam, a lot of big margins with a lot of these games for both teams, and I think that when you got, a sport that's still kind of growing, like rugby and especially girls rugby, it can take some time for a lot of schools to develop their rugby programs and get to the point that we've got a high level of competitiveness between these teams, and so you get a fair amount of blowouts. Like you mentioned, Lincoln-Sudbury defeating Needham by 60, defeating Wilbraham and Monson Academy by 50, but then they lost to Belmont by 40 because Belmont is one of those real rugby powerhouses. Brookline knows that as they suffered a blowout loss to them in Belmont last year. Brookline, like you said, a close loss to Weymouth. Good to be competitive with a strong rugby school like Weymouth. And then actually flipped the script on Algonquin, an Algonquin team that beat them 52-7 last year, and this time Brookline beat them 52-7. And then, of course, fans of the channel know we had coverage of the the game against Cambridge Range and Latin School, a 31-10 victory for Brookline, led by 3 tries from Nye Azzy. And so this one figures to be pretty exciting. And now I didn't quite get the roster here for Lincoln-Sudbury, so we're just going to be narrating them by jersey number, just work with what we have. But I did get the roster for Brookline, and I got the last-minute updates this time, so we shouldn't have any mix-ups like we had last game where they had made some last-minute jersey number changes on me. We should be good here. So let's go through the lineup for today for the Brookline High Warriors. Going in order of jersey number, starting off with the starters. First off, wearing number 1, the loose head prop, a junior, Isabella Barabasi. Next, the hooker, number 2, a senior captain, Brooke Bottiglieri. Then the tight head prop, number 3, senior Aurora Charbonneau. The 2 second row players. First, a senior number 4, Nye Azzy. And then a sophomore, number 5, Maisie Wilson. The 2 flankers, a senior, both seniors, number 6, Molly Engeland, and number 7, Etta Reed. Wearing number 8 and playing the position just known as the number 8, a junior, Lila Hoffman. The scrum half, number 9, a senior, Polly Merlis. The fly half, number 10, senior captain, Kathy Merlis. The 2 wings, number 11, Caroline Hughes, and number 14, Alice DeLucia. Or it might be DeLucia. As I always say, any pronunciation corrections in the live chat, always appreciate those. But continuing on with the roster, next up we have the inside center, number 12, a senior captain, Meredith Christ. Next, the outside center, number 13, a junior, Zara Johnson. And then rounding out the starting lineup, the fullback, number 15, junior, Ivy Wheeler. Next, we have the subs coming off the bench, who we might see at different points in the game. I don't have them in numeric order. I'm just going to read them out. We have a sophomore, number 23, Zoe Arthur. A senior, also listed as number 3, which might cause some confusion, Izzy Pice. A freshman, number 25, Ari Horberg-Dector. Number 18, Anita Marquez. Number 20, Remy Fell. Number 22, Sophie Treacy. Number 16, Adriana Oviedo. And number 24, Amalia Reisman. Head coaches of the Brookline High girls rugby team are Neva Taylor and Jenny LaFerriere. So those are the rosters, and like I said, anything that any fans would like to say in the live chat, we highly encourage that. Like I said, if anyone wants to correct me on pronunciation of names, or if anyone notices that there's a mix-up on the jersey numbers or anything like that from what I was given, it sometimes happens in rugby. I welcome the corrections. If you notice anything going wrong on the technical side, if our audio is cutting out, if our video is cutting out, anything like that, we encourage you to speak up and say something. Or it could be something as simple as go Brookline or go Lincoln-Sudbury, or a shout out to a specific player, or, telling us where it is you're watching from. That can be fun. Or if you want to offer any extra knowledge or insights on this great sport of rugby, I've been very open about the fact that this is the sport that I'm probably the least knowledgeable about out of all the different sports that I have covered on this channel. And, I'm not too proud to receive some extra education on that from the fans watching my streams. Want to give a big shout out to someone who actually sent me a lengthy email after my coverage of the Cambridge game. Shout out to Lex from Total Rugby, who sent me an email with a lot of extra information about how this sport works. So, we're always happy to learn more, both myself and Sam. This is actually your first game covering rugby here, Sam.
Most definitely, Jesse. My first rugby game ever. We've done a lot of sports together over this year and last, encompassing a ton of different games, but this is the first rugby game. Didn't get around to it last spring, and it's going to be fun here. Brookline against Lincoln-Sudbury. It should be a really fun matchup.
Yeah, it should be a really fun matchup. Should be a fun learning experience for you, for me, and for any fans tuning in who aren't as familiar. This can be a really cool and fun sport, once you gain that understanding of what's going on. And we should be getting this one started soon. We're scheduled for a 4:30 start time. And unlike the Cambridge game, thankfully, we have our officials out here today. Sam, you weren't there for that one, but the game in Cambridge a couple weeks back started about an hour late because the official didn't show up. So that worked out for me because I actually also got caught in traffic, showed up later than I wanted to. But, it's the only time I think I've ever seen fans give a standing ovation to an official because, I think they gained kind of an appreciation for the fact that as much as you might not like some of their calls or anything like that, we need our refs in order to have these games happen at all.
Most definitely, Jesse. They serve an extremely important role, and now Lincoln-Sudbury doing their pregame ritual, it looks like.
Yeah, no, I love seeing that across the different sports, the different kinds of pregame rituals that teams have when they huddle up. And of course, rugby famous for having some of the really coolest ones. I think it's New Zealand that has like a special, like almost like tribal kind of dance and chant that they do when their national team plays. It's really something else.
I think it's the haka. Pretty sure. Yes, the haka.
Yes, you got it.
And that New Zealand team, they're extremely dominant across really a lot of the world. South Africa also good at rugby. And Australia plays rugby league, a different kind of rugby than this, which is rugby union, the more commonly played rugby style, or form rather.
Exactly. We got Lincoln-Sudbury lining up. It looks like they're going to be kicking off to start us off here in the first of 2 halves. I believe it's 35-minute halves, but we don't have a scoreboard clock going today, so we won't be able to keep track. The only way that we'll know once we've reached halftime is, when the official whistle blows and everyone goes back to their benches. And
sort of like some of those games at Skyline, Jesse.
Oh,
And you never know how long it's going to go, how much stoppage time
that's
just
true.
happens.
And of course, Skyline, the home field for Brookline here in Rugby, as we have covered a couple of boys rugby games at Skyline. All of my girls rugby games that I've covered so far have been on the road, and fans know, if you followed a lot of my streams, I'm not a huge fan of shooting at Skyline, so I'm happy to get those road games. But you know what? I'll cover sports wherever it is I go. Teams lining up, Brookline lining up to receive the opening kickoff from Lincoln-Sudbury in this battle of Warriors teams here at Moakley Park in South Boston. Both teams coming in with a record of 2-1, trying to push for a spot in the playoffs. Here we go. The drop kick is away. Line drive shot bounces past everybody, and it's going to go all the way down into the try zone. Brookline picks it up and runs just across the goal line there. I think that was the number 8, Lila Hoffman. Brookline deep in their own end. They do a quick toss to the left. That was number 4, Nye Azzy, who took that one a little bit. Brookline trying to find an opening, but they are deep in their own end, just trying to muscle their way through. Dragging a couple of tacklers there, gains a little bit of ground. And now they're just going to punt it out of bounds there, or into touch, as they say in rugby, as the sidelines and the back line are called the touch lines in rugby. So now setting up for the line out here. And here we go. It'll be Lincoln-Sudbury with a chance to throw in the line out. Brookline, a big mistake on letting that opening kick bounce by them, as now you can see in very tough field position. Number 7 for Lincoln-Sudbury to throw this one in. And Brookline intercepts it. Big interception there. Now Brookline running to the right, dragged down. I think that was Hoffman again, not sure. And the pile of bodies there as Brookline quick passes out to the right. And an extra offload pass gets them some extra room. I think that might have been number 12, Zara Johnson, or number 13, Zara Johnson, who got that extra offload pass that gave Brookline some room. I think it was number 6, Molly Engeland, who was running that one down the right side. Bit hard to see on the further side of the field, but I think that's who it was. And we got a whistle stop here. And I think they might be calling that one went into touch once again. Or nope, it was infraction. They're lining up for the scrum. So we'll get a scrum here again. Far side, so hard for me to see the official signal from that far away. We got a sizable football field track combination here at Moakley.
Well, Brookline there did a good job to be able to traverse fields, catch Lincoln-Sudbury, moving to the side for a second, picking up a little bit of ground.
Out of the scrum, Brookline takes it. Pass to the left is missed, but recovered as Brookline. Oh, are they going to say that one? Oh, they got a signal here. Sideways arm. That's going to be a signal for a scrum. When the official throws out their arm straight to the side, that is a signal for a scrum. And the direction that they signal it is the team that has the advantage, the team that gets to put it in. So they roll it into that pile of, to that, scrum of bodies there, and then the two teams will try and kick it back to the team with the advantage trying to kick it back, typically to the player that puts it in. Oh, do we have an injury? I think we might have an injury. We got some team staff coming out here.
This is, again, you never will like to see stuff like this.
Well, I'm still not sure, as
it looked like it came off the arm forward of one of the Brookline players, again, in rugby, even if a player accidentally touches it forward, that is still the advantage for the other side.
I think you absolutely nailed it there, Sam, because that's the thing. Not only can you not pass it forward, you can't fumble it forward in rugby, and I think that's what happened there, is that Brookline fumbled it forward after it went off the arm of the player who was trying to receive the pass there. I think that's a good catch there, Sam. So Lincoln-Sudbury going to put this one in for the scrum. And we got a whistle, reset the scrum as again. The official signals for the scrum pointing towards Lincoln-Sudbury, so we're just going to reset on this one.
Looked like Brookline pulled it out too quickly there by accident out of the scrum before the referee's allowing.
All right, we're going to try this one again. Here we go. Comes out clean this time, and Lincoln-Sudbury with the ball. Number 10 taking the pass, tossing it out far, juggled. And that one, I think, went into touch as we see the flag go up from the side judge there. And so I think this will be a line out for Brookline. Just trying to go for that extra pass out to the sideline, I think to the fullback out there. Just couldn't quite connect.
Well, it also looked like it went a tiny bit forward, so nonetheless, the advantage for Brookline either way. The referee calls it.
And it is called the line out. And so Brookline getting ready to throw this one in. Brookline came up with a big interception when Lincoln-Sudbury got a throw in, and they do a nice long distance floater pass out over the ladder climb to move it forward. Brookline getting a little bit of progress out of their own end. A fake and a barrel forward by Nye Azzi there to gain some ground. Now they pass to the left. Running forward with it, taken down is Zara Johnson. Now out of the ruck, another toss dropped, but it did not fumble forward, so Brookline gets to keep it. Nice recovery there. Now they toss to Johnson, and oh, that one broken up by the Lincoln-Sudbury defense, and it's going to be recovered. We got, I think that's a penalty call, or no, they're just playing through it. Lincoln-Sudbury's going to run through the penalty, try to gain some ground, but they get taken down. They might have been playing that one to advantage, and they were, so Lincoln-Sudbury now going to get to operate out of the penalty with Brookline just standing up against the try line, trying to run this one in. Brookline standing her up, dragging her towards the touch line. That one very close. I'm not sure quite what the call was. Did they call an infraction on Lincoln-Sudbury? Did they say they went into touch?
It looks like the ball went over touch.
No,
not over touch.
I don't think it went into touch because they're not lining up for a line out here. It looks like Brookline is lining up for either a free kick or a penalty. So Brookline probably going to try and boot this one, and they go for the drop kick. They boot it upfield. Lincoln-Sudbury juggles it a bit, but they fumbled it forward, bounced off the hand, and rolled forward. That's going to be an infraction. They're going to call the penalty as you see the arm upwards and outwards at a 45-degree angle. Looks like Brookline is opting for the scrum here. Brookline will get the advantage on the scrum. They'll get to put it in. So the scrum half for Brookline, Polly Merlis, that's the position that typically inserts for the scrum and will typically get the ball back, as the team with the advantage most frequently is able to kick it back to their scrum half.
Well, Lincoln-Sudbury got it just above the try line, but they were unable to touch it down, and it looked like the ball went over that little corner. That would be the pylon area in football. Regardless, it looked to be a penalty, but they wouldn't have gotten the try anyways.
All right, we square up for the scrum. We got a note in the live chat from Mary C. Tracy saying, watching from Huntley, Illinois, and also correcting my pronunciation on Sophie Tracy's last name, as that one dropped, but it doesn't bounce forward. Brookline able to run with it. Good recovery and quick burst. Brookline's had a couple of erroneous passes that they've been able to recover and maintain possession. Passing to the right now, and that one fumbled forward, it looked like, and they are going to, looks like, call. Are they calling for the scrum, or are they yeah, they're calling for the scrum. Advantage Lincoln-Sudbury here. For a brief second, as the official put up his right arm and was signaling that at a 45-degree angle, I got a little confused, but it was the sideways left arm that signaled that we're getting a scrum here. And so Lincoln-Sudbury to insert.
Lincoln-Sudbury has consistently been in Brookline's end. Not once has Brookline made it across that 50-yard line here on the field.
And now Lincoln-Sudbury trying to cut in, taken down and tumbles forward. Again, the jersey number is a bit tough to see at this distance on the far side of the field. But Lincoln-Sudbury inching forward, collect the pass there, and I think that's number 5, who's trying to stiff arm and drag a couple of tacklers and barrels forward. Lincoln-Sudbury starting to get close to the in-goal area here, as again they stumble close to where they got it out of the ruck there, not losing any ground and still trying to drag some Brookline defenders, but we've got arm up for a penalty, looks like, and so Brookline's going to need to clear back about 10 meters, and so Lincoln-Sudbury with a big chance to try and run it in, but first got to kick it to themselves. Oh, did they mess up the kick to themselves? No, they just went a little hasty there.
It's the second time Lincoln-Sudbury's gone too early on a whistle.
And diving in, I think they got across the try line there. And yes, that one is good for the try. Number 8 for Lincoln-Sudbury, taking the penalty there and running it in for the game's first score. 5 points on the board for LS as they now set up for the conversion kick. Number 15, the fullback, to kick it.
Their LS was able to take it up to right side. They've had a lot of success exploiting that part of the field for the Brookline Warriors defense. That's where they got in, where they nearly scored a try on the close play before, and now they have it to take the lead.
I couldn't tell what the signal was. Did they signal?
She was going like this.
Good? Yeah, so
putting her arm side to side.
I think they're saying it was no good?
It looked no good to me, a little bit to the right of the post, but...
Okay, well, assuming it's wide right, it's a 5-0 Lincoln-Sudbury lead. Hopefully this isn't so close a game that becomes critical for us to know for sure. But for now, another one of the key differences for rugby is that you score, you receive the kick, as field position so important. As we saw, Brookline received the opening kick and they lived in their own end up until the point where Lincoln-Sudbury scored. But Lincoln-Sudbury takes the short kick there and they are off and running once again down into the ruck. Pass out from the scrum half. They go to the left and a takedown there. Still working it to the left. They're starting to run out of room, get close to that touch line. They're going to have to work it to their right soon, and they do start working it to the right. Taken down around the 40-yard line of the football field. They keep working it to the right, but a quick takedown there. Good defense from Brookline that time. More quick tosses. An offload is dropped, but it doesn't bounce forward, so Lincoln-Sudbury gets to take it. Number 14 did a good job fending off the tackling efforts, trying to tackle her out into touch. The offload there disrupted, and a penalty signal. Brookline almost got a big disruption there, but instead, penalty called on Brookline. And now Lincoln-Sudbury, I think that's number 8 again, kicking it to herself. They're playing it very close to the touch line there. I think it's number 14 again, running up the line. Taken down Lincoln-Sudbury close to midfield. As I think that was number 4 plunging ahead. And we got a whistle, and this time a penalty against Lincoln-Sudbury. As you saw, the 45-degree raise there pointed towards Brookline. So Brookline gets the free ball. That's number 12, Meredith Christ. Tossed it over to number 10, Kathy Merlis, who just gets to get back up and keep running with it as she didn't get fully taken down. Quick pass and dropped again by Brookline. But they called a penalty on Lincoln-Sudbury there, so Brookline with a lucky break there almost turned the ball over, but instead they'll get the free ball here out of the penalty. Christ again kicks it to herself, tosses it to Nye Azzi, barreling forward. Brookline getting in some better position, toss back to Hoffman. Hoffman carries with it. We're much better able to see the jersey numbers here on this near side of the field. And that's Kathy Merlis dragging the tacklers down. Brookline getting closer and closer. Pass to the right this time. Secured the catch first. I believe that's Aurora Charbonneau dragging some tacklers forward for a nice gain. As just taking it and barreling ahead, Brooke Bottaglieri saw that they were almost pushing through the ruck there and just took the ball herself, as we now got a whistle penalty against Lincoln-Sudbury. They are very aggressively pushing in that ruck. And Brookline just got to quickly. Meredith Christ, stiff arms, barrels forward, gets Brookline really close here. The Warriors trying to answer against the Warriors. An offload pass. Number 5, Maisie Wilson trying to push. They're in a maul now, trying to push their teammate across the try line. It's very, very close. And a penalty against Lincoln-Sudbury. And so Brookline is going to be pushed a little bit back because you can't take a penalty from that close because the defense has to back off. And a quick barrel ahead. Christ, did she get it over?
Looked like she didn't get
Not
the
quite.
ball down.
That's right. You got to get it down inside the in-goal area. That's right, Sam. As we've got a signal for a scrum here. Brookline to insert, looks like.
It did look like she got part of the ball across the plane, but again, Jesse, unable to hit it just low enough.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, Sam. You got to be able to put the ball down inside the in-goal area. It's not the same as football where if the ball breaks the plane and you get pushed back, then it's still a score. It's a different kind of rule. So here we go. We set up in the scrum. Brookline to put it in. Can Brookline answer and tie this ball game with a try of their own? Whistle first, as we had a bit of a false start that time. Note in the live chat from Joan Walsh saying, thank you for allowing Grandma in Connecticut to watch her granddaughter play for Brookline. My pleasure. Still getting set here. Very important scrum here. Successfully kicked back. And I think there was a handoff. Yes, they snuck a handoff in there. Brookline trying to barrel it forward, but no room to put it down in that try zone. We got another penalty called against Lincoln-Sudbury here. And now Brookline just going to take the free ball here. They got Nye Azzi, the powerful Nye Azzi, barreling forward, trying to push. They're in a maul. It's a push of war. And again, Brookline stopped short. Out of the ruck, Brookline trying to find room. Nothing there. Still trying to come out of the ruck with the ball and trying to race across, but a whistle blown. Penalty on Brookline. Oh, Brookline unable to get it across. They come up just short, and now Lincoln-Sudbury gets the ball with some space. I wouldn't be surprised if they punt this one out of bounds to give themselves the line out with how deep they are in their own end.
And that's a killer, Jesse. Brookline coming inches close to crossing the try line and getting the ball in, but they were unable to. And after those penalties, they really benefited Lincoln-Sudbury, ironically pushing Brookline back. Seemed that the Lincoln-Sudbury Warriors were able to bunch up at the back line, really make it impossible for Brookline to get lateral, squeezing them in.
A big try-line stand from Lincoln-Sudbury, but their line-out is intercepted again by Brookline. Quick handoff out of the ruck, but we got a whistle blown. Penalty on Brookline again.
Well, that was Brookline's first shot of momentum there, Jesse. Before that possession, the Warriors had not crossed the 50-yard mark here on the field.
That one, a long kick close to staying in, but it went into touch And so it'll be another line out for Lincoln-Sudbury as they opt to go for the punt out of the penalty call. And so now they set up for the line out once again, but Brookline's been very strong on disrupting those lineouts from Lincoln-Sudbury. We'll see if Lincoln-Sudbury opts to do anything different this time. No, again disrupted. Brookline's been so strong with those. Number 6, Molly Engelin, deflecting those away as number 5, Maisie Wilson runs forward with it. Out of the ruck, a pass out to the right. They work it. Zara Johnson, extra toss. Out to the fullback, Ivy Wheeler, who sends it back, I think, to the wing. I think it was number 14, Ellis DeLucia, who took that one. Now Brookline trying to toss it to the left. Almost a handoff there to Aurora Charbonneau, who churns those legs forward to get a couple extra yards after the initial contact. Now Nye Azzi muscling through. Nye Azzi gaining some big ground there. You know she's got burst and she's got strength when going through tacklers. A self-punt here. Meredith Christ pushing that ball forward, juggled by Lincoln-Sudbury, and she's chasing down the tackle there. Big gain of ground by Meredith Christ, but Lincoln-Sudbury with the ball, but they are deep in their own end. Now out of the ruck, Lincoln-Sudbury trying to get it out of their own end, but Brookline quick and aggressive to the ball as they wrap up another ball carrier. And they're going to go for the punt, but it went sideways there, picked up by Christ. Christ just going to fall with it there. Again, Brookline so close to the in-goal area. They try and work it to the right, barreling forward. Charbonneau taken down just short. And now just picking up and running with it, I think was Bottaglieri, taken down again. Out of the ruck. Trying to push forward. They're trying to stay in bounds. That was number 1, Isabella Barabasi trying there. Was just short. Brookline denied again. Now a toss back. Barreling forward. Charbonneau is in. Aurora Charbonneau puts Brookline on the board and ties us up at 5.
Aurora Charbonneau taking it in the left middle side there, and Brookline has struggled near the try line because they've been really contained to a small area. They've been unable to get it laterally. This time, Lincoln-Sudbury breaking a bit of that contain, and the Warriors getting on the board now 5-5.
Aurora Charbonneau got that sort of 1-on-2 matchup she wanted, as opposed to 1 versus a crowd like what we saw the last time that Brookline got so close. But a heads-up kick by Meredith Christ while running with the ball to get Brookline into good field position as Caroline Hughes comes up wide and short on the conversion kick there. But Aurora Charbonneau tying us up, I believe, at 5. Again, presuming that kick was wide right from Lincoln-Sudbury on their try. And so now Lincoln-Sudbury will be kicking it to Brookline. And again, you can see why after you score, you're forced to receive the kick, Sam, because both those teams that received the kick, they pretty much never got over to the opposite side of the field because it's just that tough in this sport to get all the way from end to end. It's a lot easier for your defense to force some kind of penalty or takeaway and then try and take the short distance in.
Especially, Jesse, it's really the opposite of football. When you think about it, it's so hard because the other team can get down the field and push you back, and they can get the good field position.
Yep, that's what no forward pass will do to a sport, and it just makes it that much more interesting. The kick a little short. It's recovered by Johnson, who taken down quick, but Brookline with possession. They're going to try and go to their left. Another quick takedown. Brookline moving towards the middle. Quick pass is a stumble and a fall, and they call the penalty on. Oh, they call the penalty on Lincoln-Sudbury there, so Meredith Christ will get the free ball here. Or no, they're going to give it to Polly Merlis. No, it's Kathy Merlis who's going to take that penalty, kick it into touch, out of that far touch line, and Brookline will now get the line out. And line out's another place where Brookline's just had such a big advantage because they've disrupted every single time Lincoln-Sudbury's had it, but they've been pretty consistent at completing their own line out passes.
Brookline's been a little bit more physical than Lincoln-Sudbury has been in this game. It's been a really tight an exciting matchup, but it seems like the Warriors have a bit of an edge right now.
Yes, although Lincoln-Sudbury was very strong in that big try-line stand at first that forced Brookline to try and come back as Brookline drops that pass. And Lincoln-Sudbury comes out of the pile with it. An offload handoff in the middle of that takedown as Lincoln-Sudbury now trying to move with it around midfield. And taken down. But Lincoln-Sudbury gaining some ground here. A long pass there, and again, turning the legs forward across what would be the 40-yard line of the football field. Quick pass is almost dropped, but barely holds on to it as she gets taken down. I think that was number 12 for Lincoln-Sudbury. Another quick takedown there by Charbonneau on defense. And the ball got tangled loose. They're going to call the penalty on Brookline. I think what happened there was Charbonneau was technically offside. She was trying to get out of the pile there, get out of the ruck, but the ball ended up touching her. She disrupted the pickup by the Lincoln-Sudbury players, so even unintentional, I think that was still an infraction. Lincoln-Sudbury going to punt this one into touch and set themselves up for a line out. And boy, we'll see if Brookline can once again take advantage, climb the ladder, and have Molly England swat that ball away, because boy, on these lineouts, she's been like Dikembe Mutombo out there swatting that ball away from Lincoln-Sudbury.
Definitely, Jesse, and the Warriors have been able to take advantage of her play to take it up. They've had a lot of the possession and momentum. Even when they've been coming out of their own end, they've been able to get to about half field or their own 40-yard line if it were football.
Number 20 able to recover that one. It was disrupted but not picked up, and Brookline trying to burst through. We're going to see a signal for a scrum, looks like, as Brookline was able to disrupt. I think that was Brooke Bottiglieri, the senior co-captain, who was able to disrupt Lincoln-Sudbury in the ruck there. The ruck, of course, being the term when a player gets taken down and everybody gets set up so the ball carrier that got taken down can try and hand it back. That's called the ruck. And I think it was Bottiglieri who got through, managed to disrupt it and just pick up that ball, take it away from Lincoln-Sudbury, and force some kind of infraction by LS. That's going to give Brookline the advantage on this scrum coming up. We got a brief stoppage. I think they need to wipe off a small cut for Nye Azzi, as that is definitely a player Brookline does not want to come off the field. She had such a big game against Cambridge, 3 tries for the Brookline senior in that one to lead the offense. Setting up in the scrum here, Polly Merlis to insert. Oh, and it's going to be picked up by Molly England, the flanker. She kind of fumbled as she went down there, but it was recovered by Brookline. Brookline just going to try and barrel forward with it, as again they lock up in the ruck, but Brookline maintains control. Nye Azzi breaking away. Nye Azzi again finds the hole and bursts forward to about midfield. Polly Merlis, the pass to Kathy Merlis, another pass, and I think that's Bottiglieri getting taken down, as Brookline lost some ground there but maintains possession. Now an attempted juke finds some room and almost breaking through back to midfield. I think that was, I'm not sure, might have been Ivy Wheeler. Might have been, I think it was. Now Brookline again trying to cut through the middle. I think this is Azzi once again. We got a whistle penalty against Brookline of some kind there. I think, you know what I think happened? I think Brookline was called for offsides because I think one of the Brookline players who was in front of the ball bumped into Azzi that time, and I think that counts as making a play on the ball, which you cannot do if you're offsides. Offsides means if you're on offense, you're in front of the ball. If you're on defense, you're behind the ball. Can't make a play on it, otherwise you're offsides. Brookline able to take the ball away once again there. Again, good defensive pressure in the middle of the ruck as, again, Azzi bursts forward to give Brookline a nice gain on the inside run. Now, Kathy Merlis trying to cut through the middle. Keeps it to about the same yard line there. Charbonneau, a handoff, and we got a penalty call against Lincoln-Sudbury. Brookline going to punt penalty ball into touch off the kick from Kathy Merlis. Brookline will have the line out.
Well, Brookline able to maintain possession here around the middle of the field. Lincoln-Sudbury's done a better job to maintain their line across the field, not playing as compact as they were before, but that strategy really did work for them on the try line.
Brookline getting ready to throw this line out. They are now just barely in Lincoln-Sudbury territory. Things could go either way from this spot. They climb the ladder, complete the pass, start tossing to the left, breaking through off the fake pass and bursting forward. I think it was Engeland. Now a toss to Hoffman out of the ruck. They continue going to the left. This is Christ. Christ taken down. And now running out of room. They got a pass to the right. Kathy Merlis gets it to Maisie Wilson. Dives forward with the ball there, hands it back. Charbonneau back to Johnson. And further out to the right to Engeland and gets an offload pass there to Johnson. And then they go out all the way. And, tackled into touch there. That's going to give the line out to Lincoln-Sudbury as Brookline just kind of ran out of room on that side. Not sure if it was the fullback Ivy Wheeler or the wing Alice DeLucia, but trying to fit down that sideline just got hit and ran out of room.
And they've been constantly going to the right in this game. Lincoln-Sudbury's done a pretty good job to close out in the midfield areas.
Number 20 catches the line-out pass there as Lincoln-Sudbury almost juggled the ball, but got it down into the ruck safely. So now they will toss it back. Quick tackle. Stays around the same spot. Lincoln-Sudbury trying to work to the left, close to the touchline, but shakes off a tackle and barrels forward for a nice gain. Lincoln-Sudbury now going to try and work it to their right. Cutting through the middle here. Taken down close to the 40-yard line, and we've got a whistle here. And, I think they were playing advantage on that one as they're bringing it back to the penalty mark. Lincoln-Sudbury with the free ball. Kicking it to herself and bursting forward. Ball almost lost by Lincoln-Sudbury, but they keep it and burst forward again towards midfield. Toss to the right. Almost breaking through there. I think that's number 8. Not sure. It was number 8 who scored the lone try for Lincoln-Sudbury so far. Penalty called against Brookline. Lincoln-Sudbury going for the quick play here. Running out to their left. They got the sideline, and they're going to break away, and they're going to get the try. I didn't quite see the jersey number there, but Lincoln-Sudbury able to break free on that play there.
Well, they're an explosive play from Lincoln-Sudbury, taking it up the left side. We're not sure of the jersey, but nonetheless, the Lincoln-Sudbury Warriors really turning the tide here in this first half. Brookline was in control for a couple minutes there, really 10 minutes of solid play, and just like that, Lincoln-Sudbury up 10-5.
And that was really the biggest run we've seen from either side so far, and that's pretty common in rugby. Usually just kind of inch your way through, maybe get some medium gains. We've seen some medium gains here and there, but that one really just a big breakaway run by LS there, as now once again their fullback number 15 setting up to kick this one. She's got a more sideways angle for this conversion kick. Sends it up, and no good. I think she went wide left this time, as I saw as I think we saw more clearly the no good kind of signal there. So 0 for 2 on conversion kicks. No conversion kicks have been hit by either side so far through the first 3 tries that we've seen. But it is a 10-5 advantage for Lincoln-Sudbury here in the first half.
Well, Jesse, that's at least we think. We still don't exactly know about the first Lincoln-Sudbury one.
But we did see the the crossing arms kind of like safe in baseball signal is what it looked like. So for now, I am going to say that it's 10-5, but maybe we'll be corrected. Drop kick from Christ. Picked up by Lincoln-Sudbury. Taken down. From the near side, they toss it to number 20. Another toss, trying to break through, was 15, no dice. Down into the ruck. They go to the right to number 8. Number 8 taken down. Now we got a violation on Lincoln-Sudbury this time. They call the penalty. Brookline started to rush it with the free ball, and the official going to bring him back for that one.
Well, Jesse, on that second conversion attempt for Lincoln-Sudbury, I was watching the ball. It almost looked like it could have gone in. I wasn't sure, but...
Yeah, it looked to me like it just curved around that left post.
Just barely missed it.
Yeah, so I think the Lincoln-Sudbury conversion kicker has missed wide right and wide left so far on her first 2 attempts. We got scrum coming up, and it's going to be Lincoln-Sudbury to insert. So I'm not sure if I was mistaken on who the initial penalty was on, or if maybe Brookline committed an infraction by going too fast, trying to take advantage of the free ball that they got. But we set up in the scrum here. We got a note in the live chat from Ivnana. I know nothing about rugby, but I often watch New Zealand's All Blacks rugby team perform their famous hakas, traditional Maori war dances. Hakas are also performed at basketball, netball, and other sports. Here we go with the scrum. Lincoln-Sudbury maintains control. Pass back, and they pass it across there. Trying to work that left side again. They've got an opening once again. One defender to beat. And almost shook it out, but just barely taken down. But another huge run. I think that was the fullback, number 15, for Lincoln-Sudbury on that big breakaway that time, as Lincoln-Sudbury able to flip it over to the Brookline side of the field and eliminate the advantage that Brookline had by kicking it off. Lincoln-Sudbury trying to keep up with the tosses. They get out to number 14 on the near side, staying in bounds, shaking off a couple of tacklers and barreling forward for another big gain as Lincoln-Sudbury getting close to the in-goal area. Number 4 barreling forward, dragging tacklers, grabbed at the ankles, she's taken down. And that pass fumbled forward, and that is going to give a scrum here, advantage to Brookline. Lincoln-Sudbury just fumbled that pass, and the ball bounced forward, and thus the infraction will give Brookline the advantage on the scrum here as they're going to try and get it out of their own end after those big runs from Lincoln-Sudbury.
Brookline very fortunate there. Lincoln-Sudbury has now been able to break off 2 big runs, that one and the score, to make it 10-5 for them. The Warriors have been much more vulnerable on that left side continuously.
Out of the scrum, Polly Merlis. Pass back to Christ and to Kathy Merlis and to Johnson further out right. And I think we got a signal up. I can't tell if that's a penalty signal or maybe a free kick. I think it's a penalty. And so I think Brookline lining up to, or they're bringing it to the exact spot. So I think that was a free kick actually. Either way, Brookline maintains possession. Barabasi was taken down. Now barreling forward is Charbonneau, and Charbonneau staying on her feet to gain some extra ground there as Brookline trying to get out of their own end. Bottiglieri hands it off to Azzi. Azzi trying to drag it, gets taken down. Pass out to the right. Quick passing all the way back, and a quick takedown there as out of the ruck, Lincoln-Sudbury able to take it away. Brookline not able to get the blocking support after that takedown, and this time they just lost track of the ball as Brookline tries to dive on that one. We got a A whistle. I'm looking for the hand signal. And I'm not. Oh, the reason I'm not seeing a hand signal is because that whistle is for halftime. We are through our first 35 here at Moakley Park in South Boston. Our score at the half, the Lincoln-Sudbury Warriors 10, the Brookline Warriors 5. Lincoln-Sudbury got one try each from one from number 8 and one from, I think, either number 11 or number 15. I'm not quite sure, but it was someone down that far sideline. And then Brookline got their lone try on this play here by Aurora Charbonneau as we take one last look at the replay. But a close match so far, Sam.
Most definitely, Jesse. It's been incredibly close. Both teams have had stretches where they've controlled the tempo of the game. Brookline had a good period after Lincoln-Sudbury scored where they nearly got it into the try zone one time, and then the second opportunity they got, they were able to convert for the Brookline Warriors, but then Lincoln-Sudbury breaking off a long gain, and before that they were able to muscle their way to make it 5-5, and it's been all Lincoln-Sudbury in the recent minutes.
During this halftime break, I'd like to take a moment for a local charity spotlight. I'd like to tell you about the Brookline Community Foundation. For over 100 years, the Brookline Community Foundation has been a trusted partner, supporting Brookline by investing in organizations and initiatives that help create opportunity and promote equity for everyone who lives, learns, works, and plays in our community. Among the Foundation's many grant programs is the BCF Scholarship Fund for Brookline High School, which provides graduating BHS students with scholarships to help fund post-secondary education. Your help is crucial to supporting these Brookline youth as they embark on the next steps in their educational journeys. Visit brooklinecommunity.org or call 617-566-4442 to learn more about the BCF Scholarship Fund for Brookline High School and all the other great local grants of the Brookline Community Foundation. Figure out how you can make a difference right here in Brookline. Once again, that's brooklinecommunity.org or call 617-566-4442. And you can see that link and phone number in the description section down below. But for now, it is halftime. Alongside Sam Lowenstein, I'm Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan. We're going to take a quick break and mute our mics, but we'll be back with the second half of this ball game. Stay tuned. Hello again, everybody. Back on the mic. I am Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan alongside Sam Lowenstein, coming to you live from Moakley Park in South Boston, here for the second half of today's high school varsity girls rugby contest between the Brookline High Warriors and the Lincoln-Sudbury Warriors. Lincoln-Sudbury with the 10-5 advantage through our first 35 minutes is had a brief drop of frames there, but it looks like our Wi-Fi overall is going strong. If any important plays get cut out by Wi-Fi issues during the stream, let me know in the live chat, folks. I can upload a fully recorded version of this broadcast later tonight if anything important gets cut out. But so far, we're going strong. Brookline to start us off with the opening kick of the second half. Lincoln-Sudbury running it back. Looks like number 2 for LS. Takes it a little past the 35-yard line. Lincoln-Sudbury going to their left. Quick takedown there by a Brookline player who's come in off the bench. That's number 25, Ari Horberg-Dector in the game for Brookline, but a penalty called against Brookline here. It's going, and so number 8, going to kick it to herself, breaks a tackle, barrels forward, an offload pass there, and some extra room for number 5. Number 5 gets grabbed by the jersey and dragged down inside the 30-yard line on Brookline's side of the field. Pass long back to number 10, now out to number 12. Far out, close to a forward pass, but they keep it lateral. And it's close to that far touch line as Lincoln-Sudbury starts moving to their left. And out of the ruck, LS keeps it, but a drop there, almost disastrous. Oh, are they going to say that bounced forward? Yes, they are. Scrum with advantage, Brookline.
Well, Brookline has been exposed on a couple of these plays now. It's the third time where Lincoln-Sudbury have really gotten off a good gain. This one not quite as big as the last two, but the Brookline Warriors catching a break.
Yeah, in a different area this time, as this time they had number 8 barreling up the middle as opposed to those big runs down the sideline that they had in the first half. Set up in the scrum. Brookline to insert here. And we got a whistle blown. We're going to reset on the scrum. Still advantage Brookline. Looking at the bench, it looks like Dector came in to replace Alice DeLucia on the wing. And so we'll see how the freshman Dector is able to handle her responsibilities out wide on the side there. But for now, he's set up back in the scrum. Pass to the right, I believe that's Christ. Another pass. Now they get it to Zara Johnson, who finds a hole and bursts through for a nice gain. Brookline going to stay going to the right. They go all the way out to Dector. Dector trying to stay on her feet and stays just barely in bounds, trying to hand it back out of the ruck. No room. Lincoln-Sudbury almost bowled him over, and we got I think a violation called on Brookline. That's going to give the free ball to Lincoln-Sudbury as the Lincoln-Sudbury defenders able to overpower the Brookline blockers there in the ruck to force that infraction on Brookline, and so they're going to boot this one into touch. Number 15, the fullback. The lefty kicker sends that one out, and it'll be a line out for Lincoln-Sudbury.
Well, now line out in a favorable position, decently inside Brookline territory. And LS have been able to get to both sides, the right and left of the field, really keeping Brookline on their toes despite losing many of the lineouts.
Set up for this line out here. Just making sure everybody is set. This one complete for LS. And now they bunch up in a maul, and they get out of it. Offload to number 9, who passes to 10, who's got a bit of a hole, cutting up the middle, tries an offload, but disrupted and stolen away by Brookline. That pass almost deflected. And they're going to call an infraction on Lincoln-Sudbury. It'll be a scrum advantage Brookline, looks like. But a huge takeaway there by Brookline as Lincoln-Sudbury was starting to generate some momentum there.
Brookline here with possession, but still far in their own territory. An opportunity for Lincoln-Sudbury to get it back.
They've been applying pressure so well, especially in the ruck, being able to overpower Brookline's blockers so that their defenders quickly get into an onside position to make a play on the ball. Insert in the scrum. They get it back to Polly Merlis, and now a cut through. I think this is Kathy Merlis juking around. Offload pass, and now finding a hole down the near side. Running with it, taken down. That was Kathy Merlis who took the offload pass. My mistake. I thought it was her earlier, but I was mistaken there. Now Brookline staying on that near side there. A takedown. Merlis tossed back, but it's dropped and not fumbled forward. But now they lose it, and Lincoln-Sudbury takes it away. A couple of sloppy passes there by Brookline, and I think they called the forward fumble infraction on Brookline. And so they're going to take it a few yards forward to the spot of that forward fumble, and it's going to be advantage Lincoln-Sudbury on the scrum.
Well, there's been a couple of these where Brookline have tapped it forward by accident, but still it's been a real killer for them in this game.
And here we go, the scrum half for Lincoln-Sudbury. To insert this one, still 10-5. LS leads Brookline here as they quickly get it out of the scrum. And number 9 takes off with it and has daylight. Number 9 taken down in the in-goal area. Successful try for Lincoln-Sudbury.
Lincoln-Sudbury taking it up quickly. The left side cutting from the middle. And the Warriors weren't able to traverse fields laterally really fast enough. So LS more speed than Brookline in this game now. 15-5, the Warriors of Brookline down.
And indeed, and they went for an interesting strategy there as they didn't go all the way back in the scrum. A lot of times in the scrum you see they'll kick it all the way back to, straight behind them. That time they kind of snuck it out at a diagonal angle, so number 9 took it real fast and then just, instead of passing it, because scrum halves are typically expected to do a lot of passing, similar to a point guard or a quarterback. But that time, she just took it and ran with it herself, completely caught Brookline off guard. Number 15 with another conversion attempt. I think this one's going to be, just short. That one goes off the front of the crossbar. And so number 15... for Lincoln-Sudbury, she's missed right, she's missed left, and now she's missed down the middle. But Lincoln-Sudbury now with the 2-score advantage, up 15-5 over Brookline.
Well, the Brookline Warriors, they're going to need to fill the holes that they've been giving up on defense. That's been the main problem. Regularly, Brookline's been able to shut down Lincoln-Sudbury, but it's these outlier plays that have been killing them.
And now after the kickoff, Lincoln-Sudbury with the ball in their own end. Trying to burst through that far side. Close to the 40 right now. I think this is number 8. Gets wrapped up. But an offside. That's going to be a defensive offsides, as I think they ruled that number 7, Etta Reed, was behind the ball in an offside position for a defender when she made that tackle. So Lincoln-Sudbury now brings it to about midfield. Couple quick passes. That one disrupted. And I think they're going to rule that Lincoln-Sudbury touched it forward. And so it's going to be a scrum advantage Brookline. Tried to make an offload pass while she was getting taken down there. And There's a Brookline defender in the way who disrupted the pass, turned it into a crazy loose ball, and all it has to do is bounce off the hand of an offensive player, and that counts as fumbling it forward.
Definitely, Jesse. We've seen a lot of that go against the Warriors, really, of Brookline.
Yeah, I know. You got to specify which Warriors.
Used to saying Brookline Warriors.
I know, right?
Saying Warriors and assuming that's going to mean Brookline, but now Warriors of LS or Brookline.
They're just making it complicated.
It's too hard. I've always thought that about college football. Why are so many teams named the Tigers?
Yes.
And I wondered why would that be allowed, and how would they play each other? Like, do they ever play each other?
I'm sure sometimes. Out of the scrum, Brookline passing it to the right. Johnson getting wrapped up, but staying up on her feet, actually, and lunging forward for a couple extra yards. Brookline establishes the ruck well that time. Pass back, Charbonneau bursting forward. Charbonneau bowling over a couple defenders and still bursting forward to about the 40. Brookline starting to make some progress here. Kathy Merlis to Christ. Quick passing out to the right. Engeland with the offload to Christ, but she gets taken down fast. Now out of the ruck, Brookline able to get a pass back to Nye Azzy. Pushes it about back to the spot they were in before. Now another pass back, Merlis gives, and a quick tackle there. Long pass there, almost dropped, but they complete it. Offload pass prevents them from losing significant ground, but they are starting to lose some ground here, going to the left, and Lincoln-Sudbury takes it out of the ruck and starts running with it. Oh, but an infraction called. I think Lincoln-Sudbury might have been offsides. Defender not able to get herself back on sides before she jumped on that ball in the ruck, and so it's going to be a scrum advantage Brookline.
Brookline, Lincoln-Sudbury, they've been playing around the middle of the field throughout most of this second half. Lincoln-Sudbury with a couple big opportunities, but for the most part, it's been even.
And we got a conference now with the official and with, I assume, the captains here. This is strange. I've not seen this before. I'm not sure what they're discussing here. Whatever that discussion was, the discussion has ended. And now they're getting set up in the scrum. Brookline to insert. All right, here we go. Kicked back. Polly Merlis gets the pass back. Pass across. Johnson bursting through a hole there. She's done a good job finding holes through the middle the past couple of possessions for Brookline. Pass back, barreling forward, I think, is Barabasi. And they keep working it down this near side. Nye Azzy stumbles across midfield there. They're running out of room on this near side, but Meredith Christ jukes around one. Lunges forward, but the ball's ripped right out of her hands by the Lincoln-Sudbury defense. Now LS trying to run with it. Number 4 taken down there. Toss back to 5, and now an extra pass and taken down. More quick passes. It's dropped. Oh, but I think they called a penalty on Brookline. Lincoln-Sudbury was about to start scrambling on that loose ball pass. It hadn't bounced forward, so Lincoln-Sudbury wasn't going to lose it on that. But now they get set up in a much cleaner spot thanks to the Brookline penalty.
And Brookline's had a couple of those unforced errors, Jesse, in this game where they could have had opportunities to come on offense and defense there. They could have gotten a lot of field position up to about the 30. but instead it's LS ball.
And they're going to do the kick to yourself maneuver and burst ahead to midfield. And now we got a penalty on Lincoln-Sudbury, so the ball goes right back to Brookline at that midfield spot.
And ever since Lincoln-Sudbury scored that third try, it has been really dead even between the two sides.
And this is Isabella Barabasi barreling forward there. And now I think it's Azzy with a big burst, getting it as they get it into Lincoln-Sudbury territory. Quick passes out to the left, extra offload, and another extra pass cutting towards the middle. A nice extra pass there from number 7, Etta Reed. Not quite sure who it was got taken down as we're now down at the far side. As we got what looks to be a penalty against Lincoln-Sudbury. Brookline taking it back to the spot as the official was letting them play out the advantage, but now that Brookline's been taken down, they're giving them the penalty here, and Brookline is going to kick it into touch. And so they'll have the line out close to the 20-yard line.
Brookline with their best opportunity here of the second half on the line out. And Jesse, this has been a strength for them throughout the game on these line outs. Warriors lining up.
I think they did actually lose the last one, though. It's been a while since Brookline has had a line out. We'll see what they do here. Going for the long pass to Charbonneau. Charbonneau shedding off tacklers and moving forward for a nice gain there. Brookline asserts themselves in the ruck, and they start getting the passes off to the right side. Nice extra pass from Christ. Gets to Ivy Wheeler, the fullback. Wheeler cuts around one defender and now gets dragged down. Brookline continuing to work to the right. Nye Azzy bursting ahead for a short, well, about back to the same spot. Pass back, Kathy Merlis now to Christ. Whistle blows. Looks like a penalty against Lincoln-Sudbury. Brookline gets a good spot there. Christ, quick pass to herself, bursting forward. Meredith Christ, is she in? Yes, she is! Meredith Christ! Huge play from the senior co-captain, Meredith Christ, as she took that penalty, took the self-pass, and just dragged the tacklers. Sorry for the bad camera work there as I started to move a little too far to the right on that one. But Meredith Christ with the successful try. And now Brookline going to try and get the 2-point conversion on the kick here. Caroline Hughes lines up to kick it.
Well, Jesse, that's a ginormous play for Brookline as Hughes makes it.
Hughes makes it. First made conversion of the day for either side, as we now can see what a successful conversion signal looks like. I think we can safely say that Caroline Hughes now 1 of 2 on the conversions. And that's actually really huge because it is possible to get 3 points in rugby. You can kick a field goal in rugby, or you can kick what's called a penalty goal, which is similar to a field goal, but it's out of a penalty call. So, for instance, that play where Meredith Christ took the penalty there and just passed it to herself and burst into the in-goal area. If she had wanted, she could have kicked it through the uprights for 3 points. And with this current score, that would tie the game, because the score now 15-12 in favor of Lincoln-Sudbury.
Well, that play by Meredith Christ, ginormous for Brookline. She just took it herself. Both teams have had a lot of success, ironically, without passing. When somebody's able to beat the defense, catching them napping, that has worked out. Both Lincoln-Sudbury and Brookline.
Now Brookline, after receiving that kickoff, this is Charbonneau again. She's been great at dragging tacklers today. Gets a huge gain for Brookline as they try and get it out of their own end. Oh, but Lincoln-Sudbury applying pressure in the ruck. Merlis just barely gets it away. Quick passes out to the right. Dropped. Did it go forward, though, as Dector falls on it? It did go forward. Engelin just couldn't maintain a grip on that ball as it bounced forward and it will now be a scrum advantage Lincoln-Sudbury.
Brookline have had a lot of plays like that where they've had the accidental touching the ball forward. Lincoln-Sudbury, that hasn't really been a problem for them.
They have had a few, but not as much. Definitely, they haven't had as many since they had a couple of them early. But you're right, Sam. They've had much more control over their passes. And if they do miss passes, they typically miss wildly backwards, and so they don't bounce forward. Setting up in the scrum. Lincoln-Sudbury puts it in. And, oh, it got kicked around there, and Polly Merlis was trying to get in there to try and grab it, but they blow the whistle. They blow it dead. Might have been that Merlis got her feet past the ball. That got her off sides. But, or it might have been an infraction inside the scrum itself. I'm not sure, but either way, we're going to try this one again. 15-12, it's anyone's ball game here in the second half. And with no scoreboard clock, only the official really knows how much time we got left. As that one squirts out, and the Lincoln-Sudbury scrum half does get a grip on it. And they manage to maintain it in the ruck as number 10 gets a couple steps before taken down. Now a quick pass out of it. Wrapped up and brought down. Some more quick passes there. Oh, Brookline trying to rip it out, and a penalty called on Brookline. Going to go for a quick self-pass, number 8 for LS. And she gets met and taken down on a hard tackle there. And Brookline comes out of the ruck with it. An offload pass, risky there in traffic, but they get it away to Dector. And just barely gets out of the ruck to Polly Merlis, who offloads it to Reed. Reed taken down. Again, Lincoln-Sudbury trying to jump on that ball on the ruck, but they jump a little too fast, commit the penalty, and Brookline gets the free ball here. They're probably going to boot it out for the line out. There it is.
They're Brookline in their own end here. Smart line out play. Again, for any new viewers who have just started watching, Brookline has done a great job on the line out throughout the game. They've won a great percentage of them. They've been really able to use that strategy of kicking the ball out and then winning a line out, because in rugby, if you kick the ball out on a penalty, you maintain possession in the line out.
That is correct. Brooke Bottaglieri to throw it in for Brookline. Gets it dropped and recovered by Polly Merlis off the bounce. Gets a pass away to Christ, now to Johnson. Fakes the toss and is juking around with it and draws a penalty from draws a penalty from Lincoln-Sudbury. One of the subs in for Brookline, now number 18, Anita Marquez. And no, it was a penalty on Brookline. The official's been signaling both directions, trying to confuse me, but it is Lincoln-Sudbury ball as they're trying to barrel forward with it. They move to their left. Pass out to number 11, who's got room. Number 11 taken down. And she's over the touch line there. Into touch, and Brookline gets the line out. Number 11, I think, is the one who took it down the sideline for that really long try in the first half. For now, I'm just going to say it was her. I'm not entirely sure, as it's harder to see the jersey numbers on the far side. But for now, Brookline gets the line out. Bottaglieri goes for the long throw to Charbonneau. Reed, my mistake. Etta Reed got a nice gain there. Merlis tossed back nigh Azzy. Moving to her left and dragging some tacklers forward. Brookline moving to the left. Ball's lost. Mistimed the pass, and Lincoln-Sudbury takes advantage. And now an infraction on Brookline. They're going to call for the scrum. And we've seen a couple of plays like that where the passer throws it or laterals it to where their target is, not where they're going to be.
Here an opportunity for Lincoln-Sudbury, still in Brookline territory. The Warriors trying to defend the try zone, down by 3. Brookline got a try as they were down 15-5 before that. Now within 3.
Oh, but they might not be within 3 for much longer as number 8 takes it out of the scrum and barrels forward very close to the in-goal area. An offload pass very close to the line. No signal yet, and Brookline came out with the ball. Huge defensive takeaway by Kathy Merlis as Brookline now deep in their own backyard. They prevent the try, but they've got to get out. Penalty called on Lincoln-Sudbury. That is huge as Brookline will be able to boot this ball out and get a favorable line out.
And Jesse, an unbelievable play by Kathy Merlis to stop Lincoln-Sudbury from getting their 4th try of the game that could have put this one away. The Brookline Warriors still with a chance here in Boston.
The senior co-captain stepping up in a big way here in the second half. Meredith Christ scoring the try, and then Kathy Merlis with a huge takeaway right near the try line. As Brookline now setting up for the line out, they've still got a long distance to go if they want to, at minimum, get into field goal range and more ideally get to that in-goal area. Because if they score a try, they would take the lead here, trailing by 3. Bottiglieri setting up to throw this one in. They set it up to Engeland after climbing the ladder and start passing to the right. They keep going further and further and found a bit of an opening. Now juking through the middle there and ultimately taken down. I think that was Kathy Merlis who got that last toss. I'm not sure. Now barreling forward. I think, not quite sure, struggling to read the numbers a bit as they're moving so fast. Penalty on Lincoln-Sudbury. Brookline gets the free ball here. They give it to Christ. I think she's going to boot it out for another favorable line out as Brookline steadily moving their way upfield, still in their own territory, but with a chance to get across midfield and start really applying some offensive pressure. And Sam, this is so tough not knowing how much time is left.
Because we have no idea how urgent it is for Brookline to score. They have been steadily moving the ball up from around their own try line, now nearly at midfield.
Line out complete to Charbonneau. Charbonneau offloads to Engeland. Offloads again, and now taking off and running with it. Nayasi fumbled the ball! Got hit hard and lost it. Tough reversal of fortune for Brookline. As now for the forward fumble, the infraction is going to be called on Brookline. It's going to be a scrum advantage to Lincoln-Sudbury here.
Man, Jesse, Nayasi just bowled into one of the Lincoln-Sudbury defenders, and the ball popped out. It almost looked like a helmet falling off of somebody's head. The way it jarred loose with the contact.
Tough reversal of fortune for Brookline as they were really starting to move the ball there, and we've got a whistle, and we're going to reset for the scrum. 15-12 still the score. And now Brookline is going to need another big defensive play if they want to get this ball back and get a chance to score. Trying again on the scrum. And, oh my gosh, is Brookline going to take this? Brookline took it! Brookline took it out of the scrum! Unbelievable! Huge defensive play by Brookline as despite Lincoln-Sudbury getting the insert, Brookline came out of the scrum with the ball. Great push by Brookline's bigs in the middle, but they're losing ground here as they're just trying to scramble and hold on to the ball. Now dragging some tacklers forward. A nice play there down the far side. Brookline getting some room. Pass to the right. Breaking forward. Dragging some tacklers there. Out of the ruck again. I think that last run was by Azzy. Now they get it to Christ. Christ tangled up, but still barreling forward. Meredith Christ! Somehow the escape artist gets out of the tackle and gets a huge gain there. Down to the 20, but Lincoln-Sudbury applying pressure in the ruck. Can they take it away? No, it's held on by Brookline. They go down in the ruck again. Brookline maintains it. Nye Azzy running with the ball. Got an offload handoff. Charbonneau barrels forward. They're getting close. Brookline maintains the ball. Kathy Merlis out to Johnson. Johnson nowhere to go with the offload, and she goes down into the ruck. Toss back. And that was number 20, Remy Fell, I think, who had the ball there. Another sub was coming for Brookline. And now, out of the ruck, a quick burst forward. I think it was Azzy again. Now Brookline trying to maul it. They're trying to maul it forward. I think Brookline's still got it. It's a mess of bodies in there, and a penalty is called on Lincoln-Sudbury. Brookline going to have a chance here. Out of those penalties close to the try line is how Christ got her last try. Can she get another one here? No, she's going to boot it out, and they're going to go for the line out. They're going to try for a line out play to try and get this one.
Well, Brookline, you can see the Brookline bench players getting excited on the side. The Warriors zapping the momentum from Lincoln-Sudbury. This is really unprecedented, using the line out instead of taking a penalty. But Jesse, it's been in Brookline's favor so much in this game, and they have the chance for the lead after being down 15-5.
Will they go for the high pass to England or the far pass to Charbonneau? What's going to be the play that Brookline's drawn up here? Bottiglieri to throw it in. They go up to Fell. It's dropped. And it was a penalty on Lincoln-Sudbury. They're going to get another penalty. Christ going to take it, run with it. Christ barreling. Did she touch it in? Yes! Reached it over the line. Meredith Christ. Huge, huge, huge play from the senior co-captain as Brookline takes the lead for the first time today.
Meredith Christ, play of the game, stretching out and just tapping the ball down.
Boy, that's, again, we draw the parallels to football. That's like a football player reaching across the line, except she had to bring it down onto the turf over the line, and just barely, as she was getting pulled backwards, managed to slam that ball down on the turf. Caroline Hughes, good on the conversion, and Brookline leads by 4.
And Jesse, the ball came out after she touched the ground with it. It was not a clear try, but Brookline now leads by 4.
Yeah, not an easy one. Not like some of the breakaway runs we've seen at other plays. That one by inches. Boy, does it get any more exciting than that. You gotta love it when a game becomes a game of inches. And now Brookline, having flipped the script on Lincoln-Sudbury, leads 19-15 here in the second half. But they've got to get this ball out of their own end after receiving this upcoming kickoff from LS, because you know that LS has been applying all kinds of pressure on defense. Brookline is, they can't rest on their laurels here. One try is all Lincoln-Sudbury needs to take back the lead.
Well, Jesse, Brookline took it from almost at their own try line to get the try to take the lead last time.
That's right. This all started with that huge defensive stand by Kathy Merlis, as the senior co-captain's making big plays for the Warriors here late in this one. Out of the ruck, a pass to the left. This is Fell, I think. Yeah, that's Remy Fell, number 20. Brookline keeping it about the middle. Now passing it to the left. Breaking through. Huge breakaway run here. I think that's Sarah Johnson who took off with that one. Gaining some big ground there. Toss back nigh. Azzy trying to barrel forward. She gets taken down but gets a nice short gain there. And now they call a penalty on Brookline. Once again, Lincoln-Sudbury strong in the ruck. But Lincoln-Sudbury rushed that one. They didn't give Brookline enough time to get a full 10 meters back. And now Lincoln-Sudbury with the ball. Number 8 running with it. Tried to barrel over a player. Gets taken down. Ball's rolled back. I think number 9 now gets taken down. Number 8 trying to take it again. Just going for the solo runs so far for Lincoln-Sudbury. And, oh, is this an injury call? Dang, we got an injury. Oh, it's a Brookline player down. I mean, no matter who you're rooting for, you don't want to see any players from any teams go down. But, you know, rugby is such a rough and tumble sport. It's bound to happen.
Most definitely, Jesse. And they do all they can with only certain types of tackling being legal. But it's just unfortunate to see something like this happen.
Coaches coming out, trainer running back to her medical bag, looks like. So the action is going to take a pause here as they make sure this young lady is okay. Still down on the ground, hard to see. Got her standing up. That's number 1 for Brookline, Isabella Barabasi. And oh, they're holding a bandage up to her face. We got a bleeder here. You know, might have gotten hit in the nose, and might be bleeding out of the nose. Bit hard to see from this distance, but I think that's what we got going on here. Unfortunately, this is a pretty common kind of injury that you see in rugby, and you know, at the very least, we can hope that, you know, it's not anything like a concussion or anything like that. You know, bleeders to the head can look sometimes a little scarier than they are because you got so many veins up there. But, you know, the real concern is whether there's any long-term damage to the brain. That's the real sensitive spot you want to watch out for. Out of that injury stoppage, I think Brookline brought in number 16, Adriana Oviedo, sub in for the injured Barabasi. Keep an eye on her. Hopefully she is okay. As out of the scrum, LS still trying to push the issue here. They're trying to take back the lead, and they are deep in Brookline territory. Still with the ball. It's so bunched up, so close on the far side. Out of the ruck, they managed to hand it away. Quick takedown again, and a whistle. That's going to be a penalty on Brookline. Quick run from Lincoln-Sudbury. Dragged down just short of the try line, looked like. Oh, but I think they went too fast or something. They called some kind of another violation. Looks like it was another penalty on Brookline, so it's going to be a short distance run. And quickly, Brookline bunches up to stop her down short of the try line. We got another whistle.
Man, Jesse, it's really coming down to it now. Lincoln-Sudbury knocking on the doorstep.
What was that signal? The official ran down into the in-goal area and raised one hand. Did he give Lincoln-Sudbury the try? Is that what happened here? I am
It doesn't look
No,
like.
I think we got a Lincoln-Sudbury player down now. So another injury on the field. Boy, you hate to see it, but especially in a moment so intense as this. I mean, rugby is so conditioned to that continuous action. And to have that continuous action and have it moving so fast, you know, and then twice have it stopped due to injury. But of course, the number one priority is we hope that these players are okay.
Hopefully she's okay. Not sure, but she seems to be walking on her own power.
Okay, looks like I think they did give Lincoln-Sudbury the try, but did they not give them the chance for the conversion kick? What on earth?
This is weird.
Yeah, because Brookline's now kicking it off. I assume for now, I'm going to assume Lincoln-Sudbury got the try and took the 20-19 lead, but I'm not sure as that kickoff initially fumbled, but fumbled backwards. So now Lincoln-Sudbury taking off with it and taken down as now running with it again. God, I really wish we had a scoreboard here so I could know the score. We've had a couple of weird calls that we weren't entirely sure what it was, but for now I'm assuming that Lincoln-Sudbury has the 20-19 lead and the ball. Brookline trying to make a play on it, but a penalty called on Brookline. And just taking off, running with it, and breaking loose. Dragged down from behind. Lincoln-Sudbury making some huge gains here, as assuming they got that try there at the end. Then they're trying to build on their lead as the offload pass dropped, but it bounced backwards. Again, Lincoln-Sudbury's been so lucky with the bounces off their drop passes as they maintain possession there. Now Lincoln-Sudbury just trying to find an opening. They go out wide on the far side. Couldn't quite break through, but now coming out of the ruck with a run, but a whistle stoppage. And I think they just whistled.
That looks to be the game.
That looks to be the end of the game. So I think Lincoln-Sudbury has won the game. 2019, I'm not sure. We got another injured player down as they're coming off the field. Unless this is some kind of a timeout or something. I am. Okay, the game is over. That much I know.
I feel like the sign is when the parents come on the field, Jesse, but
so, you know what? Heck with it. I've never done this before, but I'm going to try and see if I can run down field level and get some information from somebody. Unless I mean, I don't know what the final score was.
I could run down if you would like, Jesse.
I think the final score is 20-19.
This could be an all-time first.
This might be the first time I have to go and ask what the final score was. I mean, all right, heck with it. I'm gonna make a run for it, Sam. Just make sure my equipment doesn't blow over. I'll be right back, folks.
Well, here Brookline, for now it looks like they have lost the game 19-20. Lincoln-Sudbury getting the win right now. Both sides have both sides were celebrating in some way after the game, or it looked like Lincoln-Sudbury had more of a celebration, so most likely they have won 2019. It appears LS has won the game, but it's an odd ending again here at Moakley Park. There is no scoreboard that we have, so it's not necessarily the clearest. The game is most definitely over. We were not even sure whether that happened, and this really makes Skyline look clear compared to what's going on at the moment. Again, for anybody new tuning in, Lincoln-Sudbury, we think, has beaten Brookline 20-19. Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan. I'm Sam Lowenstein, joining him on color for today. Jesse is going field level, trying to get some information on what the score is to end the game. And as you cannot see him running back, but he's coming back up. Above to the bleachers, going around asking everybody. And now he's back.
Okay, folks, breaking news. Lincoln-Sudbury has won this game by a final score of 22-19 because they did give Lincoln-Sudbury the try on that last possession, but they actually gave them the full 7 without need for the conversion kick. I'm not entirely sure why. You know, I feel a little bad. I feel like I've been so much more knowledgeable about the sport than I have any of my past coverage of it, you know, thanks to some great help from some helpful fans and all of that. But my goodness, that was something,
well,
is what
Jesse,
that was.
This game has been something in multiple ways, but at the same time, it's sort of like a European commentating American football. Even if you know some, there's so many little rules, intricate things about it, and it just is what it is. It's a similar thing with that. But this has been a great game between the two sides, a bunch of oddities, and definitely a game to remember. You don't see this kind of stuff every game.
Absolutely. What a wild game this was. Lincoln-Sudbury defeats Brookline 22-19. Lincoln-Sudbury got on the board first in the first half on a successful try by number 8. And then Brookline answered back with a successful try by Aurora Charbonneau to tie it up at 5 apiece. Lincoln-Sudbury got a breakaway run by, I believe, number 11 down the sideline for a long try to take a 10-5 lead into the break. And then they got another try from number 9 on a sneaky run out of the scrum to take a 15-5 lead in the second half. Brookline mounted a tremendous comeback with 2 successful tries by senior captain Meredith Christ, helped out by a big try-line stand, big try-line takeaway by her fellow co-captain Kathy Merlis. And then Caroline Hughes converted on both of her conversion kicks in this second half to give Brookline a 19-15 lead. But then Lincoln-Sudbury marching down the field, or actually really their defense forcing a big takeaway, and then marching down the rest of the way to the try line where a bunch of craziness happened. And I don't know if there was some kind of big violation on Brookline's part right around the in-goal area that allowed Lincoln-Sudbury to be awarded 7 points, which then ended up being the deciding points. But that's going to do it. We got some last notes in the live chat from Nancy DeLucia saying, excited grandma and Poppy watching in Connecticut. Go Brookline Warriors. Great announcing. Thanks for the opportunity to watch. Prayers to the young lady who was injured. Thank you so much, Nancy. Our pleasure to bring this to you. And, of course, our thoughts go out to all of the players that got, it looks like just a lot of players getting banged up, which is pretty natural for rugby. Obviously, they're going to, keep in, the teams are going to stay on top of things, especially if anyone took a hit to the head, to monitor any potential long-term damage or anything like that. But hopefully for now, they're just banged up and it's nothing too serious. And then our last note in the live chat from another grandma in Connecticut, Joan Walsh. What a wonderful job broadcasting this game. Thank you so much. So proud of Brookline's effort. Thank you so much for the kind words, Joan, and I couldn't agree more. What a great effort from both teams, really. A thrilling back-and-forth contest. Really was anybody's game throughout the entirety of this game between Brookline and Lincoln-Sudbury. An absolute show from these two teams, and I think we can tip our caps to both teams in this one, Sam.
Definitely, Jesse. It was a great game, back and forth. We talked about it before the game, how evenly matched these two teams were, both with one loss and two strong wins, and this game did not disappoint.
Absolutely lived up to the billing. So Brookline falls to 2-2 on the year. Lincoln-Sudbury improves to 3-1, and for now, this is my last girls rugby game on my broadcast schedule for this spring. Who knows, maybe the dates will align and I'll be called upon to cover a playoff game once that rolls around, or something else might happen. But for now, this is my last time covering this girls rugby team here in the spring of 2025. Look at this showing of sportsmanship. Lincoln-Sudbury, I think they brought pizzas for both teams to share. They brought pizzas for Brookline to share. That's awesome.
That's super nice.
I love that. I love nice little gestures like that. But as I was saying, I do believe this will be my last girls rugby game for 2025, and assuming that it is, I just want to say thank you to the Brookline High girls rugby team for affording me this opportunity to cover a couple of their games. It's been such a fun time here for these two games. Getting to appreciate some really good quality and good back and forth rugby competition. This team has come a long way, even just from the games I was covering last year, and I got to really see them shine this year in a way that I unfortunately didn't get to see last year when they unfortunately faced some very high-level competition when I was covering them. So I was really glad to get to see that, was really glad to get to call a lot of really great plays made by the Warriors this year. Thank you to head coaches Neva Taylor and Jenny LaFerriere for all their support, getting me rosters and things of that nature. Thanks to Jared Dyke, who's the head coach of the boys rugby team, but helps coordinate things for both teams. He's the one that helped book me for the 4 rugby games, 2 girls, 2 boys that I'm covering this spring, as I've still got one more boys rugby game on the docket. And thank you, of course, to the players for giving me the privilege of getting to watch such great games. And again, if I don't get to cover them again, a happy send-off to the Brookline High Girls Rugby seniors, Brooke Bottiglieri, Aurora Charbonneau, Nye Azzi, Molly England, Etta Reed, Polly Merlis, Kathy Merlis, Izzy Pice, and I think that there are some players I don't have years for, but I know those are among the seniors. And, of course, the senior co-captains, Brooke Bottiglieri, Kathy Merlis, and Meredith Christ. You know what? If this is the last I get to see of you guys, then out here on a rugby field, then you guys put on a heck of a show, and you should be proud of yourselves for that. That's all I will say on that one. But we're going to wrap this one up. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. Alongside Sam Lowenstein, I am Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan. If you enjoyed this live stream, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all my upcoming sports live streams. Thank you to all those who brought the good vibes in the live chat today. Remember, if there's anything you'd like to say after the live stream is concluded, you can say it in the comment section down below. You can also go down below to the description section of this video where you can find the link and phone number for our local charity spotlight, the Brookline Community Foundation. You can also go further down in the description section for some helpful links related to me that you can also see on the bottom right corner of your screen there. My personal website, jessesports.com, where you can find out more about me, the freelance sports broadcasting services that I provide to various teams, and how you can commission those services for your favorite team. Or if you want to skip past all that, you can email me directly with any questions, requests, or comments that you may have. And don't forget to follow me on social media on Instagram and Facebook, where I post highlights from previous live streams. But for this live stream, that's going to do it. Lincoln-Sudbury 22, Brookline 19. From Moakley Park in Boston, Massachusetts, alongside Sam Lowenstein, I am Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan. Thank you all for watching, and have a good night.